And so that's why, we're beating down the door saying, hey, we want you to get money, we want you to build wealth, but we want you to be able to keep it and pass it to your children. That's
Yeah.
also important because that's the reason why we do it. It's the reason why I get up every day and do what I'm doing is because I got them 4 badass kids that cost me, I got 2 in college and I got to pay for them suckers. So I need to make
And
sure
and
that
they all look just like you, by the way.
you think so?
Yeah, they all your little clones.
But I have to, we gotta do better for our children. Somebody asked, what if I just transfer the property into my name or into someone else's name? Is that sufficient enough? And no, it's not, because what if you die? Because living trust can be somewhat expensive. Some of them can be. You could do a transfer on deed death. That means if you die, the deed transfers to whoever you want it to transfer to. So it's in your name, but it transfers to them. That way it won't go into probate. But what happens if they die first? And you're right back at that same scenario. So the living trust is the most solid way, is the safest way that you can really preserve your wealth.
And the other thing about a trust too is that the trust isn't just for death, right? It's a huge asset, when you do pass, right? We definitely covered that, but also a trust again. I'm not an expert on it, but I've studied it quite a bit. Is basically it's another entity,
Mhm.
and it can be there for protection, for legal protection.
Absolutely.
There are lots of wealthy people who, if you sue them, you won't get anything because they'll say, "I don't have any money, but my trust is rich, my trust is loaded, right? But I'm broke, right?
That's how
While
you
I'm
do
going
it.
right while I'm in Monaco with my Bugatti and getting off my yacht, but that ain't
Exactly.
my yacht. That yacht
Right.
belongs to
That
the
belongs to
trust.
the trust. What do you
Yeah,
mean?
yeah, yeah. So you can think of the trust to some extent like bringing in this relative in your family, like a financial bodyguard that's going to hold all your stuff. And you can
Mhm.
put your house in the trust. You can put any assets into the trust,
Yep.
and so you end up starting off with this thing basically called a trust document, and the document kind of lays out a lot of the details in terms of the nature of the trust, what it is. It's kind of this central piece of paper. So like with my wife, I just tell her if something happens to me, like, cause she got real worried when I started flying airplanes constant. She just, whenever I bring up how much I love flying, she just gets real quiet, and I know why. And so I said, look, babe, if something ever happens to me, just go to the black bag, the trust documents in there, and that tells you not just the structure of the trust, but you can then put assets into the trust. So the same way you have an LLC, you have an EIN number related to the trust, and you can just attach things. You can attach bank accounts, houses, cars, money,
Insured.
whatever, right? And then also you can have provisions in the trust, right, where you basically talk about like, okay, I have these life insurance policies. The trust is the beneficiary of the life insurance policies, and some people do that. That's what I'm doing, right? My trust is the beneficiary of my life insurance policies, and then I think carefully about who the trustee is and stuff like that. So, for example, I'm leaving a large percentage of my 3/4 of my wealth to the Black Business School. My wealth,
Wow.
my insurance policies, everything, and because I thought extensively about legacy planning. I said, "Gosh, what if something happens to me? Like, what's that going to look like if we wake up one day and Boyce is not here anymore?" I was like, I don't want that to happen because I care about people that I work with and I want to make sure they're safe. So we kind of have this whole setup with a board, and everything takes money to fund. So I was like, here's a bunch of money. And so effectively what that does is that allows the Black Business School to kind of live forever. You know what really got me, Constance, was we went to Egypt not long ago as a group.